Welcome back into the Dewsweepers, everybody. It is a real treat for me to have joined me here on the Dewsweeper lesson tee, one of the great ball strikers in the game of golf from just down in my neck of woods, Mr. Boo Weekley, PGA Tour star. Boo, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, Tom. How you been doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. It's always good to catch up with you. I get to see you a little more now.
Oh, yeah. It was good to see you.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things I thought we'd talk about, Boo, is, I've known you a long time, watched you, and you've had a great career, but you're known all around the tour, all around the world of golf as a great ball striker. What are some of your keys? What are some of the things that, like, if you were to tell people to make them a better ball striker, what are some of the things that you focused on through your career that you think have led you to become such a good ball striker?
I think I just concentrate really hard on just hitting the back of the ball. Just trying to make the swing the way I hit the back of the ball. To make it curve, you got to hit either side of the ball. You want to make it hook, you hit it to the inside. If you want to make it draw, you hit it from the outside of the ball. So it's kind of, my whole key is I just focus on just trying to make sure I stay real, positive over what I'm doing and just try to focus on hitting the back of the ball. The ball ain't going to go nowhere unless you hit the back of it.
Exactly. One other thing about that, you talked about curving it right to left or left to right, Boo. Do you try to curve it much? Do you try to play it pretty straight? What's your thoughts on that? I know there's a lot of different variations, especially when you go out there and you see the tour guys, but, what's your thoughts?
I mean, you need to be able to curve the ball. Yes, to play at our level. But I think, if for an amateur, I think the main goal is if they play a cut, line up on the right side of the tee box and play it. Open the hole up down the left side so you can play a cut. And then, same thing if you're hitting it on the green. If the pin's on the right side of the green, well, aim to the left side of the green. I know it's easier said than done. I mean, this is a hard game, but to me, I play in a lot of pro-ams, and that's what I see a lot of is, the guys that don't take enough clubs because they're used to playing at their home golf course, and they come out on the road and they see, well, God dog, from 150 yards, I hit an 8-iron or a 7-iron. Well, you're not at your home golf course. This place might play a little more uphill or a little more downhill. It just all depends.
That was one of the things I was going to say, watching folks in pro-ams, you see it every week, and I know they're always asking you questions, about how to get better. As you see, you guys all know how far you hit your clubs. That's one of the things, exactly how far you carry it, and how few amateurs really know how far they hit the ball, and they're going off of the best 7-iron they ever hit in their life, not the average one.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, every time I get a new set of irons, I'll go out, after they get them built the way I want them built, and then we'll go out and we'll play. And the thing is, every club that we got on the PGA Tour, you can buy in any store that's around now.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make these special clubs just for us. Now, they might bend them. We got more access where they can bend them and do things to them to make them a little better, but they're the same clubs. But every set of clubs I get, I go out when they're brand new. I go out and I'll hit 25 balls with each club, and we'll sit out there with a bucket. I'll shoot a range. Like my pitching was supposed to go 135. Well, I'm going to hit 25 balls, and we're going to go out there in my caddy or whoever I'm with. I might be at home hitting balls out in the hayfield behind the house. But I'm going to check it out to make sure these balls are going to be they should be inside a circle. Now, granted, they're going to bounce and roll some, or they're going to, hit and stop some. But you kind of get an average of how they fit around that bucket.
You're talking about something that's it takes a little time, but it's very simple. I mean, the average golfer could do that. Go out there, just find out how far, go into a field or a park or go to their driving range or whatever, and find out how far they really carry these balls.
Oh, yeah, they can go out there like that's what I used to do when I played the mini tours when we first met, matter of fact, a long time ago, I mean, that was one of my big keys that Jack Slocum, Heath's daddy, kind of, got me into doing because I've never done it before, and I never could figure out why Heath was always whipping my butt playing golf, and come to find out, he knew exactly how far every club he hit went. Now, granted, sometimes you're going to flush it. Sometimes you're not going to hit it as solid. They ain't going to travel as far. But we'd go out there, and he would literally sit there, we'd put a bucket up at 175 yards, which is my 7-iron, and we'd sit out there and hit balls, and that's how we practice. That's how we learned how to, make the ball go that far. And then, we'd sit on that driving range, and I want to learn how to, because I've always been a hooker of the ball. and I wanted to learn how to hit the fade,
Right.
and me and Jack sat out there, and that's what we did. We sat out there and we hit balls and kind of worked a little bit, and then the guy, Gene Hire, that taught me how to play the game, he kind of came back around, I don't know, that was probably about 2000, 2001, probably about 2002, when he came back around and started helping me, and that's when I got my PGA Tour card back.
Now, obviously, you work with Scott Hamilton now. Everybody knows that Scott's had so much success. He's a great guy. Had him on the show. Uses a lot of TrackMan. How do you use technology? I would say this, that you're a pretty simple guy as far as your thoughts on the golf swing and what you're trying to do. How have you used technology and integrated that, Boo, to helping you, maintain what you're trying to do?
I think the technology is awesome for people that want to learn how to make the ball do certain things.
Okay,
it is an awesome thing, but I think you can get too caught up in technology. You get too caught up in the mechanics of your swing instead of becoming, instead of being a field player or a player that you need to a lot of them shots out there. Yeah, you might be in between clubs, so that ain't mechanics. That's feel.
Right.
So I think that people are getting away from that a little bit. But for me, honestly, I don't use none of that stuff. I mean, I'll use it with Scott, but all I want to know is the swing path, which if I'm too far down on it, which is on the TrackMan. But the camera thing, I think the biggest thing is if somebody can see their swing, they can kind of fix their swing. If you can see what you're doing wrong and actually break it down and show them, say, hey, this is what would, this is the reason why this ball's doing this, because the club head's, at this angle up at the top of your swing. If you can get your club head turned a little more to the north and the toe point a little more south, then, hey, this should be good,
Right. No, I love it because, I have a TrackMan and I've got Body Track and, Boo, every time I get that stuff, the more I use it, the less I end up really using it. I get one of those things and think I'm going to use it a bunch. And I think it's great to measure some stuff, but when you're dealing with guys that, good players, young players, obviously I teach a bunch of young folks and then some guys just coming out on tour or playing mini tours, and I think they've got to learn to see it and learn to fix it themselves a little bit and learn to hit shots, not just be so caught up in the numbers of what, did I swing 3 degrees left or do I need to swing a little more to the right? To me, I think that would help all golfers too if they weren't so caught up in trying to be perfect like that and learn to just hit golf shots.
You hit it, you nailed it. That's what you did right there, because back in the day, you think about Lee Trevino, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus. They didn't have all this stuff. They just swung the way it felt comfortable to them, and they went around there and they played golf. And granted, you ain't gonna hit every shot perfect, but at the same time, the game of golf is nothing but the game of miss. Because where you're gonna miss it, where you give yourself the opportunity to get the ball up and down.
We got about 2 minutes left, Boo. What about short game? I think it's so overlooked by the majority of golfers. They all walk to the range with their 5-irons. How many dang 5-irons they gonna hit in a round of golf? And yet, when I'm, recently was in Auburn, saw you, and watching these guys, you guys spend. You spend in the majority of your time I see you is on the putting green versus the range.
Yeah, well, I've always, that's been my weakest part of my game is putting, and I've gotten better with it. And when I was in Auburn, I kind of struggled a little bit with my putting, but at the same time, I think if I work on in the off season when I start back playing golf, I work on from 75 yards. 50 yards and in. That's what I think, because that's where you gain shots and you lose shots.
In a little less than a minute, how do you work on that distance?
I just do the same thing I did. Just put a bucket up out there, and I'll just hit balls. My thing is trying to land in that bucket. But my whole goal is I take it back. I know exactly how far I'm taking it back. Because if you hit about 100 balls, you take it back a certain distance every time. It's repetition. Then your body knows, all right, I take it back this far. That's how far that lob wedge is going to go, or my sand wedge is going to go. It's all about the repetition.
Great stuff, Boo. This is fun because it's simple stuff, but I know you do it. You've had a lot of success with it, but the thing I like is every single person listening to you and I could go do this, and they're going to play better and enjoy being out there.
Oh, yes, sir. They will play better, and they will learn. It'll be funner for them.
No doubt about it, Boo. Hey, I know you've been busy and you got your charity stuff going on. Thanks for all you do, and always as well. Thanks for being nice to my guys when they come out there and make starts. It's always nice to have somebody take care of them.
Well, I appreciate it, and I'm glad to see your boys are doing good. You got some good players you're working with. I know that. Teaching them a lot of good things.
Boo, I appreciate it. I look forward to catching up with you soon.
You got it, Tony. Thank you.
All right, buddy. That's PGA Tour star Boo Weekley. I'm Tony Ruggiero, and this is the Dewsweepers Golf Show.